When you look at the end of a season, how much difference do you make in points terms for you as a manager? What difference do you think you make?
I don't really look at it like that. I think the group make a difference. I mean, last year was a perfect example of a group of people who turned a situation around. You know, we were in massive trouble at the halfway point. We had 12 points at 19 games. We'd just been stuffed by Everton. Loads of noise about it. Probably the first time in a long time I'd been heavily questioned, can we move forward? I must say the fans were great. I will say that, because that's not easy for fans, but they stood by me and what was going on when they could have down tools. But then you got a group of people that you could almost smell it where they went, right, enough's enough. And we turned it around.
Talking about the players then?
Yeah. Oh, and staff, and me included. Yeah. But a connected group who possibly had been at stretch. The connections, the belief in what we'd done, the belief in what we do, had probably been at stretch, actually. Probably, not possibly, had been at stretch. To gather it back together and to make it go forward again. And not only go forward, we smashed the second half of the season, which is not easy. In relative terms, you know what I mean. You know, outscoring some of the top guns and, all that. That's actually my biggest success. So people think that my success here, the promotion, we got into Europe and all that. That's not in my view. That's not my biggest success as a manager. But I'm using because I have to take the accolades or the stick. What I mean is our, really. Yeah. And the players played a massive, massive part in that turnaround. So
what made the turnaround that season? What was the moment?
A number of things. I think there's a thing that I believe in when you bottom out. There's a collective mentality where it bottoms out, I believe.
When
it bottoms out, after we got done by Everton,
remember that feeling?
Yeah, you could sense it in the room. It was like, right, enough's enough. Forget about what I did or said. I think the groups went, lads, we're better than this. Right. We're. It's hard to explain. It's like a collective. You can almost smell it, and you can taste it in the room. You think, right, you've bottomed out. I could sense it. So actually, after that, there was no slanging matches and all that. It was very simply a meeting, a PowerPoint of probably about 8 things that we'd forgotten. And I said, lads, this is what we're about. This is what we do.
Can you remember what they were?
And we just, not off the top of my head, but basics. Shape, alignment. Alignment was a big one. An aligned mentality. We all know what is needed, but we've chosen decisions to decide we don't need that. We've actually chosen as individuals to go, I don't think I need that anymore.
Through what? Exhaustion? Thinking that
I think, you get a little bit for the first time, don't forget, the season before you finish 7th.
Yeah.
And it's human nature to think, I think I've cracked this. It's human nature. Yeah. Now, we don't as staff, but not because we're mega intelligent, just because you're a bit older and wiser, and you think, no, you've never cracked football. Trust me, you never cracked it.
And I actually had this chat last week, funny enough, seriously, with my son. So my son plays at Feyenoord. He played against Ajax under 14. He was on the bench. He didn't play. So in the car on the way back, he was like a bit moody, disappointed, complaining a little bit about others, about the coach, etc. And then I said, but Shaquille, I said, you sound like a loser, if you talk like this in a way, you sound like you lost. I said, you are blaming him, you're blaming her, you're blaming this, you're blaming everything. I said, but I don't hear one single thing about yourself. I said, winners, they take control and they blame themselves and they look where they can improve. Yeah. And this is what you should be thinking about. So I didn't tell him what he should think about. You should ask yourself the question, are you a loser or are you a winner? I said, for me, it doesn't matter. I said, because I'm your dad. I said, the only job I have and your mom has is when you're 20, that you're a good boy, that you're ready for life. You can make your mistakes, you can do what you want. I love you for the same amount. It doesn't matter for me if you make it as a football player or not. I said, but you say that this is your passion. So you should take control of your life and stop complaining, because it sounds like a loser. I said, and I don't mind. If you want to be a loser, be a loser. I still love you as much. I said, it doesn't matter for me. I said, but if you want to be a winner, take control of your life and stop complaining about others. And then I watched him train the next morning. My wife said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to watch this session. 2 days later, actually, because they played on Saturday and Monday morning. So I'm there sitting, cold, hoodie on. I'm looking and I see this tiger training, running, working. And I was like, okay. Okay, he realized he has to take control of his life. He's 13 now.
We talk often on this podcast about 100% responsibility, and I think it can be a difficult mindset for some people, but it basically is even things that are not your fault, there's no point not taking responsibility for them because then you can't control them. What are your thoughts on that 100% responsibility?
I'm absolutely a massive fan of it, because one thing I think I've seen in football, from being a young man trying to make it, from playing through now managing, is blame and any kind of blame culture, or it's not me, it's them, it's that. I hear it a lot.
By the way, even if it is them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I think I'm lucky in a way, but I think part of the way I am is that I never want to look at really, and maybe at times it's easy said, I blame the back four were useless today, for me. I would blame the strikers because they didn't finish and really, generally though, I always inside, always looking at myself. I was always my own biggest critic on the pitch, and hopefully off the pitch, and of course made loads of mistakes. But you have to take responsibility. If you want to get better, you have to take responsibility, no matter what, for good or for bad, I suppose.
I remember growing up watching you play for England, Leeds, Man United, and I think at the sort of West Ham Leeds period, I would have said, from what I saw looking in the papers, you enjoyed a night out. Right?
Oh, I enjoyed it, yeah. Enjoyed it.
How close were you then, for all that hard work, from a 6-year-old on that estate in Peckham to throwing it all away by getting sort of carried along?
But there's a moment in life.
Found success.
Everyone in their life, there's a moment where there's a decision to be made. And my moment came, so like you say, Leeds and West Ham, especially the early parts of Leeds, I overindulged in the nightlife, all the finer things that come with being a professional footballer. And the Euros came about. Kevin Keegan was manager, and I didn't get picked. Embarrassment, pride, ego, smashed to pieces. I went away that summer, holiday, and I just vowed like this isn't happening again. And I trained that summer. It's like that's when I first ever started training in the summer before I went back to pre-season. So I was training probably for 2 weeks before that on my own in the park, running around the park, doing drills.
Right.
So when I got back into training, I was fitter than everyone else. So all of a sudden, straight away, the manager's going, "Oh, whoa, he's fit. There's a difference to Rio. Look." And then all of a sudden, that became repetitive. Every single season I've done that. That November, I got a move to Leeds after being left out of the team, broke the British transfer record, and then it just continued going, escalating from there. So,
Was it at Manchester United you went in when you realised that everyone was coming back 2 weeks beforehand?
when I got to Man United, it was weird because, and I'll roll you back to the beginning of that, is I got there and I wasn't I was a good professional. I thought I was a good professional, and I went to United from Leeds, and I saw top professionals. Not players, top professionals, professional athletes who looked after their bodies, who went out and had nights out. They weren't saints, went out and had nights out when it was right, at the right times, around games. Players that prepared for training on a daily basis properly, who recovered after training properly, who their standards on the training pitch were up here. And each person who was great at a certain thing that I thought he's the best at that, I tried to take a little bit out of their makeup. So Scholes, he's standard. He was the best player in training every day. I need to try and elevate myself to be the best defender every day, or one of the best players in the team every day. You know what I mean? Roy Keane demanded standards of players. He demanded players, even if he wasn't performing great in training, he demanded other people apply themselves properly. I want to try and take that and develop that in my makeup. Giggsy was the best in preparation and recovery. He does yoga, I'm doing yoga.
Who lets you know what is expected of a player in that environment?
The players.
Not the manager?
No, because it's like anyone, like a kid, you can tell a kid all the time. And a lot of kids, until they see it, and they breathe it, and they're in it all the time, and they immerse themselves in it, actually I can follow that now.
What kind of homework do you get to do to make sure that they're the right character as well as having the talent that is going to add to the family?
Well, obviously we got the chief scouts that do all the scouting. We got the analysis who do all the analysis and break it down to the minutest detail. But you can see that with your eye, really, what talent and what quality you got. Then you speak to teammates that maybe play with them in the national team. So obviously Cristiano was an easy go to me. that I managed to get through Patrice to get hold of Cristiano, and his recommendation obviously stands him in good stead.
What did Bruno do? So, as someone that's come in, it's not easy, is it, to come in halfway through a season, or to come in even in the summer transfer window, to come into a squad that's already formed? What did he do where the players immediately thought, right, this guy is one of them?
He's got the talent, of course. You can see the qualities there, and we've seen that for a long time. But then again, he steps up when it matters, and he does it when it matters. He's delivered crosses, he's delivered assists, he's scored goals, he's took penalties, he's done everything in a short space of time that you'd expect.
And off the field?
And off the field as well, in training, and he demands of me, he demands of his teammates. And the first day he was in the club, he shook everyone's hand. He didn't come in here thinking I'm the big shot, you follow me. No, the respect and the respectfulness of he shook absolutely every staff member's hand.
You noticed that?
And of course, this is a family. Man United, we've always been a family. And Sir Alex, the way he's created this atmosphere in this training ground, I think is unique.
Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, leave a review, but somehow get involved with the High Performance Podcast and become part of our growing community. Thanks for being part of it.